How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, can you all
Hi.
hear me?
Hello, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
How's everything?
Fine,
Okay.
thank
Should we just start? Because I'm supposed to have Mr. So Rams, but he's not here now. So I think because of time, we should just start.
Okay.
Okay,
So
I
good
think I
evening,
can just.
everyone. Welcome to Chats with Destiny
Yeah.
Peace. Today we are going to talk about red flags in a relationship. And with me, I've got Mr. Simon Matthew, a public speaker. I've got Miss Teminik, an intimate expert and a writer. And later, Mr. So Rhymes will join us. Welcome again
Thank you. Good
All
evening.
to
right.
Thanks for having
my
me.
show, Chat with Destiny Peace. My name is Destiny Peace. So, everyone knows that aside from healthy communication, relationships are built on trust. So, how do you define trust in a relationship? Do you want to help us start, Mr. Simon?
Okay. Thank you very much. I
Is
hope
it
everyone
Simon
you
or
can hear me.
Simon? Yes, I
Simon,
can hear you,
Simon
but not
Matthew.
clearly. I can hear you, but not
Oh,
clearly. Is it Simon or
okay.
Simon?
Simon is my name.
Simon. Okay.
Simon is my name.
So
Okay, maybe I
yes,
should put on my headphone or something so that you can hear me clearly.
okay then. Okay.
All right. Can you hear me now? Am I
Yes.
better now?
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Simon Matthew. Okay, straight to the question. What is trust? For me, trust for me is simply being dependable. All right, being dependable. For me, trust would mean being honest. All right, honesty for me is
Good
also trust.
evening. I think sorry to cut you
Yeah,
short. I think Mr. So Rhymes has joined
so
us.
right, yeah.
Good evening. Yeah, Mr. Soran. Yeah, we were talking about my first question was about aside from having a healthy communication in a relationship, what can he say about trust? How can he define trust? So that was the question I asked him. So Mr.
Sorry,
Simon, can
maybe I
you
need to get.
continue? Sorry to cut you short.
No problem.
Okay, Mr. Simon, do you want to continue, please?
Okay. As I was saying, trust for me would be being dependable. All right, trust for me would also mean being truthful. All right, being truthful. Trust for me would also mean being honest with honesty. You understand? Even though trust is something that is an offshoot of several experiences, but for me, some of these factors, the factors of honesty, the factors of being truthful, the factor of being dependable over time, can all come together and form trust. So those are some of the ingredients or some of the things that one can say that form trust for me. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. You've spoken well, Mr. Simon. Miss Temi, do you have anything to add to what he's just said?
Yeah, you said it all. Like when you trust somebody is when you are relying on that person, like your confidence that the person gets your back. But the thing is, trust is not something you just have in a day. It's built over time. You understand? So trust is not something you feel you're supposed to trust me. Like we're dating, trust me immediately. Even friends, you can't trust them in a day. So it takes time. And as you're building trust, it gets slipped away too. It can easily slip away, it can easily slip off. That is when you allow the negative thought override your positive thought. The thing is, as human, we need to learn one thing. Before we can have power called trust, before we can have this thing called trust, as an individual, we need to learn how to compromise at all times. That is the
That's
only
true.
way we can use that tool called trust. If we did not learn compromising, we can't use this tool. Everybody just keeps saying trust, trust, trust. Well, you need to work on that part first, because before you can just use this thing, you need to understand that he's human, you're human. You are meant to make mistake. She's meant to make mistake. So once you understand that factor, you understand that you can't have them 100%. And that is when you'll be able to build this thing called trust. It is human for them to make mistake. Let them make mistake. You understand? But the thing is, are they
Yes.
honest when they're apologizing? Are they being sincere? Are they unaware of all those things? So when you have all those things, you can have, yes, you can say, yes, I can trust this person. Trust is when you can rely on that person, when you can say, okay, not because they're not going to hurt you, not because they're not going to like do anything to make you angry, yes. But it is even when you can learn and unlearn with those people. Do you understand? When this person hurts you,
Yes.
for that mind to forgive, trying to understand the other person. So that is when the trust thing comes in. So thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Miss Temi. Mr. Soul, you just pointed out something Miss Temi has just spoken about. She said trust is not end in a day. So do you want to elaborate on that, Mr. Soul?
Yeah, 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 yes. I would like to. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I would
Thank
really
you.
like. I would really like to talk about that. And good evening, everybody. The lady and the other gentleman. Thank you very much for showing up. Thank you. I'm sorry I came a little late. I was trying to join. I didn't know I did not follow I immediately. So trust. I think in my job as a love life, I hope to let my clients understand one thing very surely about love and trust. I think we've always believed over time that love is trust, and that is an error. Love is not trust. Trust may actually, I mean, love may, strengthen trust, and vice versa. But love is not trust, and trust is not love. Uh, and the trust comes in not as a result of I like this lady, but as a result of I know this lady, and that's the point I'm making. Trust comes with knowledge. Love may come with sight. I think I'm working on something right now. I don't want to mention that so that I won't advertise, where I emphasized on the attributes of love. The attributes of love, first of all, is attraction. Once you love somebody, you got to be attracted to somebody. Then the attention will be needed. Then knowledge. Now, the third step is knowledge. You need knowledge, and that is when trust comes in. When you get to that third stage, you begin to talk about, I know this person. You begin to know, I need to know more about you. What do you do and all of this? How do you react to these things and all of that? What do you do? What are your weaknesses? I don't think people ask that question a lot. They don't ask the question. All of us are just looking at, I like that guy. So Rhymes, he's doing well in his career. I like him. But do you know So Rhymes' weaknesses? This is where the issue of trust comes in. The person's weaknesses, you begin to talk love and trust, and you begin to mix them up in a way that is not supposed to be, because love and trust are different. But lack of knowledge can affect your love in the sense that you are expecting trust in an area concerning which you have no knowledge. Like if I'm a thief and I'm dating a lady and I go on a date with her and we return, perhaps maybe I went to the maybe I go to the parents' house from there and I stole something. And they are asking her, do you know this guy? Do you love him? The girl, right? But does it mean she does not love me? She actually based her love on the fact that I like this guy, I like this guy, and the trust comes only when knowledge comes in. So the basic thing is that trust and love are not the same. Love can come anyhow. I can see a person today and love that person, but trust comes with knowledge. It's based on knowledge, not on likeness. So I can say, okay, this is my sister. I love my sister, but I'll tell you that, okay, these are the things that my sister cannot do. Or I can tell you that these are the things that my sister can do. What is it about? Because you can now trust on what you know.
Okay. 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 Okay, Mr. Soul, your the reception is very poor on your side, so
No,
we can't really hear
I
most
thought
of
it's only
what you're
from my end.
saying. But at least the few we had, we understand. Mr. Soul, your reception is your reception is poor on your side. Thank you very much. You know, your reception is
I can
poor. So let's see if probably the network is poor. Let's see, probably you would fix it or it fix itself. Let's move on to the next question. For example, if your partner defines
I'm
trust,
sorry about
you know, the way your
that.
partner, okay, if the way your partner defines trust does not match your values and expectations of trust, should that be a red flag? Do you get my question? If the way your partner
I
defines
get it very
trust, you know,
well.
if it does not match your values and expectations of trust, should that be a red flag? And why?
Yes,
Do you want to help
such
us, Miss Tammy?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, the thing is, trust is when you feel heard, when you talk and somebody listen. You understand? Love is when you feel safe. Love is comfort. Love is security. It's like it's something that is quelling your emotional needs. Because we are all going into a relationship for one thing or the other. Yes. Are you going there because you want sex? Are you going there because you just need comfort? Are you going there because you just need that figure? I want the society to know I have a man. Do you
Mm,
understand? So love is compromises a lot of things. The reason why everybody is doing what they're doing is different. And that is why whichever thing you're going to go into that is not going to work in accordance with you, you shouldn't proceed. Why do you want to be with somebody? See, love can work without trust in some circumstances. Yes. Somebody dropped a question earlier. I noted it down now that love, you can love someone and you don't trust the person. Yeah, it is very easy, but it's going to be in different circumstances. It's not possible, it's not human enough for you to say you want to love somebody you don't trust and you want to build a home with the person. You're on a suicidal. You want to kill yourself. But it can actually work for you if you just need a fuck mate. You understand? She's great on the bed, you're great on the bed. The compatibility is there. Yes, you're definitely going to work. But not when you want to build your life. You want to go on another less level. You want to have a woman or a man you want to build your life with. You want to have a reasonable conversation with, and you don't trust them. If you don't share the same values, there's no point going further. You won't be heard. What's the point of you dating somebody? Something is messed with you. You are not wanted outside. Your partner should be there, either good or bad. That is one thing. Trust is when you know that when you fail, when everybody thinks you are a failure, you go back home, you have somebody you can talk to. You have somebody you can call. baby, this is what is going on. I messed up. I failed. You need somebody to tell you you are not a
That's
failure. You get up again. You just have to do it again. But now, if you're not on the same line, it's not going to work. You're just going to be depressed. You're going to be sad. You keep hurting yourself more. So I think if you and your partner is not working on the same line, then you move.
Thank you very much, Miss Temi. Mr. Simon, do you want to add something, please?
Okay. Let me add to what Miss Temi just said. Let's even try to define what love really is, because sometimes one of the issues I see around is that people go around doing things within contexts that they feel is the ideal thing without first defining what they are really practicing. You understand? And talking about love, I came across, I think in one of the seminars, I came across a definition that really stood out for me. A lot of persons see love as a feeling. You understand? As much as I agree with them to an extent, I beg to differ a bit. For me, love
Hmm.
is more of a decision that you have made, that you have taken to stick with an individual. You understand? To stick with an individual,
Okay.
especially within maybe the context of romance, or the context of maybe a life partnership and the rest of that. You understand? Because we need to find a way to define love, because until you define it, you may not know exactly what you're practicing. Now,
So, but you're talking
I
about
I,
love
I
in a
believe.
relationship. In a
Yes,
relationship.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So now, and I also believe that we are talking about trust within the confines of relation of love and of relationship, as it were. Talking about love relationship, you understand. So now, if the reason for the person trusting you, if the ingredients or some of the factors that made up that trust does not resonate with your set of values, I think for me it's a red flag, because the truth of the matter is that for the two of you to even flow in the first place, there should be some level of connection, as it were. Now, when somebody is now putting their trust on the basis of things that conflicts with your set of values, I think it's something that you should run away from. Except what you are really looking at building is not something that is long lasting, or it's not something that is going to be. It's something that will just be temporal, or something that will just be maybe for mutual benefit for a short term. But if you are hoping to build something that would last, I think that you need to review the basis for such trust, to ensure that whatever it is that the person is building their trust on resonates with your set of values. So that for me is a red flag that needs to be revisited if you really need to build something long lasting. But if it's something that's going to be just a short while, then you can just let it pass. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Simon. You've spoken
Welcome.
well. Let me move to the next question. And this question goes to anyone that has ever ended a relationship. At what point in time did you realize it was time to call it a quit? You know, do you
ladies
want
first.
to, anybody that has ended a
Okay.
relationship?
Okay.
Ladies
Love
first.
is not enough to hold a relationship. I want us to know that. There are other things attached to it. And say you want to call a relationship quit is devastating. Do you understand? And it's even more devastating if you are still in love with this person. You are just calling it quit because you both are not on the same frequency. There is no balancing, there is no common ground. It's not because you stop loving them. You guys are not on the same line. It may take time. It takes time. At times we give it time because we want to see if they're going to change. People do things not because, yeah, we always say people can't change, people can't change. But majority of people do things unaware. They don't even know they are hurting you. It's based on the fact that
Yes.
where they are coming from, the way they play love in their home, they don't even grow up seeing their parents playing love. You come from a home,
Mm.
maybe a home where they are playing love. you know, where your mom and your dad are always very clingy and all that, and you want to be in a relationship with somebody that so there's nothing like that in their house. It's about mom is something. You want to date somebody that their mother is calling their dad daddy Bola, and you come from a home where your dad call your mom honey. You understand? So it doesn't you're not on the same frequency, then they don't really understand. And when we move with people, people really enlighten us. Our environment determines who we are. People we work with, they shape our life. So that is why you have to give it time. Let's see if they're going to change. Let's see if they don't even know. Maybe they're not aware. They don't know all those things. Now you put them on the line. You start teaching them. You understand. You start baby. If you don't mind, if you think you have the time and the patience to do it, there are some people when you see them, you know that they have more to them than this thing they are lacking. So you want to do your best as human to train them, to tutor them, not because you want to be a babysitter, not because you can't just go out there and jump on somebody else. No, it will also benefit you when you shape them, when you mold them to what you want. It gives you joy. You understand? But at that point, it might take a year or 2 years, maybe because you're scared. You don't know if you want to start another relationship. Will I start asking a lady? As a guy, it might be like, will I start asking a lady out? What is your favorite color? What do you like more? Will I start petting her? If she's crying, like, what will I do? Or a lady that is already attached to a guy, you know how you're handling him. So now you want to start all over again. So the fear of starting all over again and a lot of things, they will start counting it for me. They will start saying I'm jumping from one man to another. A lot of factors. But when you get to the point that they are unteachable, there are some things you can't teach people. It's not until a man beats you physically. Even women, they abuse you with their mouth to the point that you feel like hanging
It's
yourself to bed.
emotional.
So imagine if they can beat you. So we have emotional abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse. When all those things doesn't resonate with you, then you move. When you feel you've tried your best, you've talked to them, and that is why it is very important to take your time. You don't just rush things. You can't shape anyone, you can't train anyone. It takes two people. The thing is, when you try your best, see, you're coming from another background, they're coming from another background, Mrs. Macaulay. It is important.
Somebody just said you can't shape anyone, you can't train anyone. It
It's
takes
easy
two
for you to train.
people
Yes, that is
willing to learn.
ideology. That is what the society wants you to believe. Why is it that when you wear a cloth that you feel is okay for you, but when somebody call you to other, you adjust? Are you telling me you're not changeable? Why is it that when you want to eat at night and somebody tells you, stop eating at 8, start eating at 6, you change. You listen to that person. Are you not changeable? Anybody can be changeable. We don't condemn people. A lot of people are very lazy trainer. They will be like, I don't have time to babysit a man, he's a grown-up man. So it takes time, anyways. Like, but if you're not that kind of a person, it's better for you to walk away. But if you can take your time and it doesn't work, then you move. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Soul, do you want to add something? Please.
Yes, yes, actually. Can you hear
Mr.
me now?
Soul, do you want to
Can you
add
hear
at
me
what
very
point?
clearly?
Yes, at what point in your relationship did you call it a quit? You know, did
Well,
you
for me,
realize
I
that
think
you
I've
know
always
what
been.
is time to call it a quit?
Yes,
Hello, we've got someone
I
that
always.
just joined, Miss Ese Macaulay. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question
All
was
right, welcome.
this goes to anybody, that has ever ended a relationship. At what point in time did you realize it was time to quit in your relationship?
When you feel you can't give, so it's a give and take. When I mean you cannot train, so I'm married. I've been married for almost 10 years, and I'm a counseling psychologist. And I'll tell you this, you can never change. When I realized I cannot change my husband, I knew peace. You can only suggest changes, and then you allow the person room to change. Do you understand? But most times we suggest something and you want to enforce it. Your husband or your boyfriend is not your child. If you go that way, the person will resist the change and will never change. So when you suggest change, don't have it in mind that you are trying to enforce it. So you are telling the person, I don't really like this. And then you give allowance because there are things about you the person also doesn't like. Realize that too. And they are giving you allowance. So if you keep pushing, you are telling them that whatever thing that they are making allowance for in you, they should also push. And that's why a lot of divorce is happening right now. It's a give and take. So it is a situation whereby, okay, we talk about two people at opposite attracts, right? Most likely, if you are trained in a particular background, you will always be attracted to people that are trained in the opposite direction. Have you not noticed it? And it's the same thing that made you fall in love with that person that will make you quarrel when you are in the relationship. Let me give you an example. You like a girl that talks a lot because you're a quiet person. You're opposite, right? And it's still the talk too much you will complain about tomorrow because you want to be quiet. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's now a case of, okay, how do I manage it? Am I going to now say because knowing that it was the character of her talking a lot that attracted me to her, am I going to tell her to keep quiet because right now I want to be quiet? So it's a give and take. So you need to allow people room to be themselves. Because if you end up changing who you are dating, you will not recognize the person after a while. The person will be more like you.
Hmm.
So this thing of let me give there's this saying I'm trying to frame it. Okay, it said God grant me serenity, give me peace to accept the things I cannot change, courage to
Hmm.
change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. There are things you cannot change and things that you can change.
Hmm.
Most of the reasons why divorce will happen is because you are trying to change things that are outside of your control.
Hmm.
It is left for the person. I'm a counseling psychologist. If somebody comes to me and complains about the husband, I cannot change the husband. I will talk to the person that is with me. I cannot do anything for the husband. I cannot tell you, okay, go and do this, and then your husband will come to you. I can only make you, the person, know how to manage your emotions. Because, okay, what will I now do for that person now that will now make the husband come back? But you know, the irony is,
Yeah, but don't you think a relationship that's got love, when somebody, like, for example, if the man is the one that has a problem that needs to be changed, what if he loves his wife and his wife has been, complaining, and probably they go for counseling, and they have people talk to them? Don't you think he might be able to, reason with her, and there can be a change from that instance?
so it's good to have, okay, one of the things you should look for in a relationship is somebody that has a growth mindset, because there will always be things you will not like. So if the person is willing to give a counselor room to come in, because not everybody will like that, most people will tell you, I beg, nobody should come out in our matter, you understand? So it's trying to look for a tall, dark, handsome guy. Look for somebody that is teachable. Look for somebody that has a growth mindset. That if you saw, when you are dating already, you suggest something, the person takes that suggestion. Because sometimes we as ladies, we are attracted to guys that are bossy. And then the guy
Hmm.
wants to boss you in marriage, and then you are not complaining that the guy is always bossing you around. When you forget, and sometimes it's the other way around. Some guys are attracted to girls that are bossy. They're attracted to girls that I'm like, I'm more of an extrovert. My husband is an introvert. You understand? And sometimes it gets to me that he wants to be quiet and I want to talk. That's what I fell in love with. So I'm now managing myself, knowing how to give and take. There are times I will pull him out of his, but sometimes I allow him be, and I realize, oh, he needs his time. So sometimes we need to let people just be.
Okay, thank
Well,
you, ma. You've spoken well.
well,
Mr. So, do you want to add something,
yeah,
please?
yes, I really want to add something. I think she
Okay.
made a lot of very good points. Can you hear me very clearly?
Yes, please.
Yeah, she made a lot of very good points, and I was just giving kudos where I am. And a lot of them, a whole lot of them. I think judging from her work, it shows. Talking about changing people, which the first lady talked about. Forgive me, I did not get that name correctly. Well, I feel for you to be able to change someone in a relationship, first of all, I have to say that uh, I've ended likely all my relationships by myself. no girl broke up with me. I did break up with them. And the reason is that I find the red flags before they find it. And not because I'm looking for something extraordinary. I always tell people that I rather prefer to be with a prostitute that I know than to be with a church girl or acclaimed church girl concerning which I have no knowledge. Now, if I am with somebody that I know and I know that this is what this person can do, if you are telling me that my wife probably went there, slept with somebody, I will be annoyed because I'm married to her, but I will know that I picked a prostitute to marry. She has been doing that. That was a weakness. And it's possible to crop up at some point in her life. A simple psychology. Weaknesses of people don't go away finally, like they don't go completely. So they come up at some points in their life, although it may not be frequently. Now, having said that, for a person that I don't know, as much as I will take it with somebody that I know, for a person that I don't know, once you do that, it will be much more than what you're thinking it. It might lead to the end of that relationship. And let me give an instance of my previous relationship. There was this lady that I had a good relationship with, very fantastic. From the very first, from the first 2 months, I noticed the red flag. On February 14, which is supposed to be a lover's day, she posted a caption, not anybody's photo, not mine, and tagged a few other people. Supposing I was imagining that it would be her family members, but my intuition was strong, so I asked her. She tagged me, she tagged a few other people. So because I've never talked about her boyfriend, she told me she broke up with her boyfriend by herself. They've dated for 3 years. And I posted her photo, and she didn't post mine, not a particularly significant thing. For you posting a photo, dedicating love to someone, and tagging me and other people, I felt it was awkward. So I asked. All I needed to know was that our ex was not on that photo. That was all I needed to know. So I asked for the ex's Facebook username. She told me what it was. I searched for the people tagged on the photo, and I saw that the guy was tagged on it. Okay, that was a red flag. You said you broke up with this guy by yourself. He didn't break up with you. You broke up. What you told me was that you did not like some of his character, some of his behaviors. He's a drunk and all of that. You broke up with him because you felt I was the opposite. Okay? And you tagged him on a photo on Lover's Day with me. Going forward, I complained about that. She said I nagged. The next time I checked the photo, it was my own tag that was removed and not the guy. You understand? So it was from there I realized that I was the only one in that relationship. She wasn't dating me. So actually what she needed was a guy to be there to fill in the gap while he was having an issue with that guy, and I was that guy. So you see, that kind of a thing, I broke up by myself. It wasn't she who wanted to let go. It was me, because I realized that eventually, let me give you a reason why I thought I was wrong. This guy and this lady, as I am talking, they are married and they have a kid. Now imagine I've been hanging on and saying, what can photo do? The fact was that they were dating. They only had an issue at that moment. Wow. And I was just the guy to be used for the sexual satisfaction which the guy gave, and she felt that because of the sex educator that I was, I would do better at that level. It was just it. I didn't find out these things while we were together. I had to analyze the relationship and ask myself, what did go wrong in this relationship? And I began to realize that it was this, it was that. Not because I didn't have my issues. I would be stupid to say that I am perfect. No. I have my issues. But in that relationship, it was not about my own issue. It wasn't even about me doing anything wrong. At a point, it was like I was getting too desperate for marriage. She said it one day, and I was like, me, desperate for marriage. When did we get to that? Because it was like I was serious about the relationship, and she was just looking at a guy. Well, Ogbeni, I don't want my family to even know you.
Wow.
Because I was just the hidden guy. I was the backup guy at that moment. So I left. Now, talking about changing somebody, how could I have changed that kind of lady? There was no way. She was not with me. I was the only one in that relationship. So I could not change. You know, I said when the other lady was talking, I said, you cannot change unteachable people. Unteachable people, you can't change them. I have a case presently as I am talking to you with a man and his wife. The wife is, of course, what every man would pray to have because she's industrious. She's more like, the father of the house. Like she's doing the job of the man, and the man always hides behind her back. Now, what the man does is that she makes her this is going to be the hand. So I came in. At some point, women, they still want to protect. I don't want you to talk to my husband. She is this, he won't listen to you. I said, don't worry. This is my job. I'll talk to him. The first thing I realized, I haven't talked to him because it's my job. I had to talk to him. I said, okay. Because actually, I made the woman agree that both of them will have me as their counselor. And they agreed. So it was now about payment because I've been working with a lady before the man. So I said to the lady, don't pay. I'll talk to your husband because he is the man. He's supposed to be the one. So even if he's not going to pay, there has to be a way he will make you do it without having to make it obvious. Now, when I talked with this man, everything the wife said about him, he was displaying everything. And I was like, wow, all these allegations are true. One of the first allegations was that he hides behind the back. He doesn't take responsibility for anything. Now, he asked me to go and collect money from the wife. Eventually, I cut short the counseling and told the woman what I needed to tell her. Whether to remain in the relationship and face the misery or to make the option separate or divorce. Now, if she is going in, there are terms and conditions because they are already living apart. Because what that woman wanted,
Thank you, Mr. So.
So that I won't be taking too much time. It comes down to what we talked about in the beginning, trust. What are you trusting? What are
you?
Man they did not know. She got married to the man she did not know that they have problems. So it was not about love. They probably loved each other. And when the problem began to come up as a result of not knowing each other, it overwhelmed the love and everything started falling apart. And that's what I'm saying, that love and trust are not the same. Love can come anytime to anybody at any place, but trust has to be based on fact, knowledge that I know this thing. That's just what I have to say about this. So I broke relationship because I saw the red flags and let it go. Many red flags are there because I don't want to talk about a lot of things on this platform because of time. But actually, there are red flags, and for me, I have broken a lot of relationship by myself, and I'm not regretting it because I would have been wasting my time being in a relationship that wasn't with me, with the person that wasn't with me, or with a person that I am not particularly comfortable being with. So there are two ways. It's either the person is not even with me, or myself, I'm not comfortable with the person. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. So. You've spoken very, very well, and thanks for sharing your experience. We've learned a few from that. My next question is, do you think having a checklist is important when searching for the right one? Do you think
Ladies
having a
first.
checklist is important?
Ladies first.
Checklist. Where are you getting the information for your checklist? Most of the ideology of most of the ideology we have about love is from movies and fairy tale. Are we realistic about the checklist? Are we actually being practical about the checklist? Or we are just like trying to prove a point of our fantasies? That's where it comes like I was talking about teachable. He talked about teachable, right? And I talked about
Yeah.
having a going to a relationship with someone with a growth mindset. Most times people don't put those things on checklists. What they put is a tall guy, he's handsome,
Handsome.
he
He's
has
Has a
rich.
lot of money.
you understand? Most guys will change for you when you are dating them. Oh. It is after you get married when they know there's nowhere you can go again. That's when you now know. You understand what I mean? A lot of guys, I've
Yeah.
seen that
Right.
happen over and over again. A lot of having marriages uh, domestic violence in their marriages, they will tell you did not start. I've heard someone say you will see the signs. See, sometimes there are no signs
That's true.
because people change. Sometimes not for the people don't always change for the better. Oh. People
See,
sometimes change
sorry,
for the
ma. Sorry, ma. I disagree with you, ma. There are signs. There are
Have you
signs.
dated a guy? Have you
But
dated a
not
guy
all
that
the
Yes,
time. But
there are
but
signs.
excuse me?
Temi,
No,
You did
I
not
want
you
to
did not
understand.
notice the sign, ma. Just because you yourself
I
you
don't
are not
understand.
emotionally
I'm talking
stable.
about clients, about people
I
that
disagree
actually
with that.
do
There
it.
are
Okay.
signs. At every
No,
level, there are signs. At every
can you
level.
can you can you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People don't always change for the better. Let me explain why there are no signs sometimes. A guy is trying to control the wife, right? And he's having issues controlling the wife. And then somebody will tell you, if you want to control this woman, you have to. And because they experienced it growing up, because they saw it as a norm, it is easy for them to take that advice. So he did not initially hit her when they were dating, not because he did not want to do it. Have you not seen people do things in their marriage because they were advised to? And it's just aligned with a mindset that they.
yeah,
Do you
that's
understand what I
true.
mean? That's why I said
Yes.
sometimes there are no signs. So, and there are some characters, yes, and there are some characters that will fall off. I've seen people say, "Oh, when we were dating, I had a friend that was dating a particular guy, and I kept telling her that this one that is behaving like this, are you sure he will not be like this?" They've been married for almost 15 years now, and he doesn't hit her. Sometimes we make assumptions because of fear. Do you
Or
understand?
looks.
Sometimes there are some things you might not really. It is not. Human beings are deceptive.
Yeah, and
Human
sometimes they've not known each other for long, because sometimes some men just want to get married. Like they'll say a man knows his wife when he sees one. So maybe they've not dated for long, and they just got married, and some characters were hidden and she didn't take notice of it. So
okay.
that
Let
could
me let
be.
me add this before. Let me add this before I round up. Like we date in isolation. I want to know this person. So if you want to study a animal, and we are animals, right? Human beings are animals. If you want to study an animal, will you take the animal to a zoo and study the animal? No, you study the animal in their habitats.
Yeah,
No, no,
sure.
let's be honest. Instead of all this dating in isolation, you want to date someone and you are always together alone, you and the girl alone. You don't know that person, no.
Hmm.
You have to date the person in their environment where they are relaxed. Go and meet them where they hang out. This girl is always going to her friends. Tell her I want to see you with your friends. I want to meet you with your friends. That is where you will see the real person because they are
You are
relaxed.
dating.
All this one say they are signs. See, I can deceive you because you've taken me out of my habitat.
No, you can't deceive me. You
Hmm.
can't deceive me, but the reason is basically because I am aware of my emotional level. If you have a
Mm.
self-awareness, you can't deceive me. It's not possible. When you go on the first date, you
Oh,
are prepared. You want to go and be asking questions, right? I don't go on the first date to ask questions. I look for signs. I observe. You don't need to do the talking.
actually, Actually, my lady,
That's
you are
fine.
not there. I think it's. I think what you're saying. I hope it doesn't happen to you.
It has.
Uh, I I want to agree with lady who was saying that sometimes there are no signs,
Mm.
and sometimes the signs that you are seeing. I'm coming. Let me be realistic with you. The signs that you are seeing are not really signs of abuse, being abusive. Let me give you an instance. I was a lady that I asked out said to me that I am not going to date you because you raised your voice at me. And the first time she said that, I was laughing because it was funny. The man I am will never be abusive towards a lady. When it gets to me raising my hand or raising my voice too much, I walk away. Now that's the man I am. But she said I did raise my voice against her. And I said, okay, please, for clarification, remind me when I did that. She said there was a time that I called and I raised my voice, and she was thinking to herself, if he is raising his voice this way, it means that this guy will beat me. And that was that moment that he decided that it was over. What really happened that night? I had been busy all day, so I thought to myself, there is this special woman in my life that I have to call, at least for now, before I sleep. I was so tired, I needed to sleep. But I still said I needed to call her. So I picked the phone. I was trying to make the call. While on call, I wasn't hearing her. It appears as if she wasn't hearing me too. Her voice was so down. So I was trying to find out what's wrong with you. Are you sleeping or that? There was this confusion between is it network or is just you that was not feeling good enough to talk. So for her to hear me, I raised my voice. So when she mentioned that moment, I just smiled. In short, I laughed. I was laughing. And she was asking why was I laughing. I was saying you misquoted what it means to raise voice. Because I was only trying to hear you. And you consider that raising my voice at you, which may translate to me beating you when we get married. And what I told her was that, well, what I can see is that that is just an alibi. You are not in for this relationship. And I let it go. We were friends, we are still friends, but we are not dating. But look at that. You could have said that was a sign. A lady recently actually told me a similar thing. Because when I am with a lady, when we meet, I ask the lady, because I know my nature. My nature is a kind of, because I have been well disciplined by nature. Sometimes it feels like I'm shouting at people. And that I get from feedback from women. So I ask them, if they said no, I know that I am safe. Because it's a check on me to work on me raising my voice. Not because I'm angry, just because I want to get a feedback. So the only thing you did against me was that when I said I didn't know the road to this place, you shouted. I was like, when was that? And she said, I said I did not know the road. Instead of you're like, I said, I'm sorry, I did not mean it to. Because I was just trying to help situation. Actually, because I've been having the same MTN network issue here for a long time. So I was telling her I could not hear you. I was not particularly shouting at you. I was shouting to make you hear me. You understand? So I understood that. But when the woman says, you are shouting at me, it's like, shouting at you. Why? But you could, a lot of women would have just gone away from me and said, he's shouting at me. He will beat me eventually. So you see, that could have been called a sign, but it's not a sign. I'm never going to beat a woman. And the truth is, when she said that there may not be signs, I strictly agree with that. A lot of things cause things to happen. If you're a student of chemistry, you realize that there are chemicals that are by themselves good. But when you mix this chemical together, they become poisonous and bring a reaction. That is how human emotions are. Now, human emotions, especially when it comes to temperament and temperament, they collide at some point. There is conflict where that thing that attracts will be the problem. You want a guy that is rich and all of this, but a guy that is rich wants a woman that will be submissive. But you have your own career. You don't want to be that submissive to a guy, but he is rich. He wants to be submissive. The reason why he is not married for that long is because he wants to have a woman that he can control. So you don't want to be controlled. There is a problem. The reason you are attracted to that man is because he has money and he is well to do. Probably you say you are not materialistic. I don't consider women wanting security as materialistic. No. Normal, women always want security. It's something you almost cannot change. But the truth is, that is what attracted you. So the same man, he has worked all his life to be at that level where he would say to myself, I am a man. And what makes him a man in his sight? Money. So he pays whatever bills you want, he makes sure he does everything. And the reason he's doing that is that he doesn't want you to question him. The moment you start questioning him, you start seeing a different side that you were not seeing before. One thing you didn't notice is that when a man is dating, he's still looking for your approval. So a lot of our behaviors don't even come out at that level. It's still more like an approval. The moment I have you, especially when I pay dowry, I'm not even saying myself, I'm just using myself as an example of men.
Yeah, it
The
happens.
moment a man has and the dowry is paid, now the idea now is that he has you, he owns you, but you don't own her. I mean, you don't own him. Now,
And tell me, and sorry to cut you short, tell me there are some things, signs that you would not notice. Because
No,
as Mrs. Ace has spoken before, there are some things that he could have been taught after the marriage.
no, I won't
You
agree with
know?
that because I won't agree with
that's
that. There are
another point
signs
that
you
is
don't
very
see them
valid.
threatening.
Is
And the thing is, we
you
are
would
not
never
no,
see it.
we are humans, we're not
Never see
lab rats. We are human. And the way I respond, the way I will respond to fear is different from the way you
it. Okay.
respond to fear. The way you will respond to something that makes you happy is different from the way I respond to something that makes me happy. And that is why there are signs. We just feel
But
it's not threatening enough for us.
tell me, do
Don't
you
find
know
it
that
threatening.
you can only have control over yourself? You cannot control what another person will do
Yeah,
the
and that is
next
the
minute.
reason
You can
why,
only control yourself.
and that is the reason why I'm not reacting immediately. That is the reason why I'm giving chance for compromises. That is the reason why I'm thinking if I can live with this. There are signs. I just choose to feel, let me try my best. Let me feel I can live with this. Let me
Yeah, but
enjoy.
do you accept those signs are not initially? They are signs that came up later. Yes, they
Yes,
are obviously signs. Yeah,
yes.
that's the same thing Mrs. Esse was talking about. She said there are signs that you would not notice initially that will come up
Yeah,
later. That's what she was trying to explain.
If you're in a relationship with somebody, if you want to go into a relationship with somebody, I'm using myself as an example. I'm not perfect, but I'll tell you that my emotional intelligence is on the high side. I know what I am looking for. I'm not desperate. I'm not running after the title of the missus. I'm not being pushed. I know what I want. So now I want to go into it. I know what I'm looking for because I know a lot of things is still hidden. A lot of things is still going to come up after the marriage. You understand? I don't know if you are desperate to have me. And that is why I will be my real self.
saying,
And it's still possible. At
no.
that time, I'm still not the real me. I'm still also trying to like hide some things.
You know
So there are
what
still
she's
going to be some
saying
signs
actually
Okay.
I'll feel I
is that
can live with.
when you
Then after marriage, it's still going to come out. Yes, normal. But there are signs. You said
I said what she's
your
saying.
network
I
is
think you are not
breaking. I
getting
can
our
hear you.
point.
Your network
I'm
is
sorry. I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes. Your network.
yes. Continue. Yes. Okay, Mr. Soul, your network is breaking and we cannot be here all day. Let me move on to the last question so that we can end this because we can't hear you. Let me move to the last question so that we can end this. Please, what is your opinion on premarital sex? Is it necessary to have sex with somebody? Mr. Soul, could you be quiet for a minute, please? This is the last question. What is your opinion on premarital sex? Is it necessary to have sex with someone you are courting before marriage, or is it best to wait till the day you're officially declared husband and wife, like marriage?
Yeah, the thing is,
Mrs. Ese, do you want to help us because you're
okay,
married? So,
No, let her. Let her. She said she's saying something.
okay.
Let
No,
her
you can
finish.
just go ahead.
okay,
Okay, the thing is,
Okay. From my, from my own experience, practically
okay,
being practical, sex actually takes over the conversation, and because of the way hormones work, the time you should use in discussing some things that you need to handle in your marriage, you will use it having fun. It's distracting. Being practical is distracting. Yes, it's sweet, it's enjoyable. Yeah. So it is, and I'm saying this, I'm a Christian. I'm saying this, and I'm not pushing it just because I'm a Christian. I'm telling you the truth that it is distracting. There were some things I should have discussed with my husband while we were dating. And then when we got married, I realized we did not discuss it. So we now ended up trying to resolve it after marriage. Do you understand? So stuff
yeah.
like, okay, this is how we're going to resolve when this happens. This is how you understand. Those some little, it looked little, but those things were became stumbling blocks. That if I wasn't careful, that would have ended my marriage. You understand? So
Yeah.
sex distracting. If you really want to marry someone and you're getting like, okay, if you are dating for the fun of it, that is different. But if you are getting to a relationship for marriage and you're still gonna make love afterwards, then there's no harm in waiting. And
There's no rush.
practically, if you start having sex before marriage, you might, I'm not saying you might have issues with trust. Because if your spouse cannot hold themselves while you are dating, when you are away from your spouse, you will be afraid that you are getting it from somewhere else. Then you will start building trust after you get married,
But
which is
some
it's
people will
very, very
say
hard.
it's better to do it so that you will know if this is what going in for. Because some people are actually not, you know, they are not good or they would not be able to satisfy their partners. So some people will say it's better to practice like to do it before marriage. What do you think?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. I didn't get the question.
Some people will say it's better to try it before getting married to the person. What of if the person cannot satisfy her or him? And that will lead to cheating when marriage. So what do you think about that?
Okay, in that actually, sex is something you grow with. Even with the fact that I actually had sex with my husband before we got married, there will be a point in your marriage where you need to still work on your sexual activities. So it's something that you still need to work on. So having
Okay.
sex before marriage doesn't mean that your sex is all good. And there are sex therapists. There are people you can see to help out. And mind you, like I said, people change when you get married. There are some things you like before. Maybe you say, "Oh, this is the kind of things I like." And you should be open enough to learn new things because you're going to be making love. I've been married for almost 10 years, the same person. So you need to be as creative as possible. You need to be open to trying out new things. You only have issues with your spouse if the spouse is rigid. This is how I want it, and this is how it will always be. You understand? If you have somebody that is open, that's why I said one of the things you should look for in a relationship or in a person when you are like having a checklist is growth mindset. Is this person open to?
Okay. Oh, the reception is poor. Um, Terry, do you want to help us? Do you want to, because we're going to round up soon because our
Okay.
network is poor. So that,
Yeah, I think she has said it all. The thing is just that the current dating culture we have now says you must test each other's sexual chemistry, before you know what you're committing into. But I will agree with her that early sex at times, sex is bonding. It's like when you want to bond with somebody else. You understand? So it's something that affects our psychology, everything. So when it creates a sort of this counterfeit intimacy, like you feel you already know this person, like you're okay with this person. So I think I would suggest, though, your decision, your relationship, you know how it works for you. But if you ask me, I'll say you give it time. Do you understand? You don't necessarily have
yeah,
to wait till marriage before you do it. Yeah, you don't necessarily
yeah.
have to wait till that time, but give it time, get to know this person, bond with them, have reasonable conversations, because when you start having sex with somebody, you get so bond that you realize majority of the marriages we have today, majority of them are bond are sort of created because of this early sex. They just kick it right off, like before you know it they want to settle down. Yes, and before you know it, problem will start setting in. So I think it's best when you give it time a little, get to know your
Okay.
partner, be sure you understand, map up your differences, your conflict, and and that is where this orientation is coming from. When it comes to sex, though, majority of people feel it's just supposed to be a goal-based sex because of the way like it is. Yeah, you understand, but it can be more intimate. You get, so give it time. Then when the time comes, you do it. Don't have to really wait till after marriage.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining. We've overstayed our time. Thanks, and I hope with the few we've said, we've been able to advise people and for them to watch out on red flags in their relationships and to be able to solve their problems if they come across any. So thank you. Thanks, James. Thanks,
All
Miss
right, thank you so much
Ace,
for
for
having me.
joining. Thanks,
Thank
Simon.
you.
Thanks.